Hey Cootie Crew, welcome back. Today, I'm finally going to be going over the whole renovation for our RV. We've been living full-time in our RV for a couple months now. Really quick, before I start, I just wanted to let all of you guys know that we had zero prior experience with home renovation or RVs. So just keep that in mind through the video, and for that reason, I'm not going to show this so much as a tutorial, but I will be showing you guys the entire process of how we renovated our RV. Another thing to keep in mind is that for the time being, we are living in a stationary environment, which gave us a little bit more wiggle room with certain things. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead and really get started on this video. First, let's take a peek at what the RV looked like before we started making any changes to it. This is our before view of our whole rig. We got a 2003 Thor 4Winds, and we were very grateful to find owners who had been taking care of it while they had it, so the RV itself was in amazing shape when we got it. The full length of this beauty is 27 feet long, and it has 2 slide outs, one in the bedroom and one in the main living space. Even though it was in great shape, we wanted to make quite a few changes in order for it to better suit our little family. Some of the changes were purely practical, and some of them were just to make it feel more like our own home space since we were planning to live in it full time. So, once we had it, we parked it in the backyard of our house and began working on it. Get inside! Go! The first phase of renovation was to remove all of the parts of the RV that we knew we didn't want to keep or that were going to get in the way of painting. So that included the window coverings, the dinette, the armchair, and all of the carpets and flooring. Since RVs are made for the road, a lot of these things are really built into the RV and very hard to take out. So it was a lot of elbow grease. And the flooring was also a real big pain, not only because flooring was layered on top of each other and stapled in with about 3,000 staples, but also because when RVs are built, they put the flooring down and then put everything on top of it. So there's carpet going underneath cabinets, underneath the shower, and it takes a lot of patience to get all of those tiny little edges pulled out. We also decided to get rid of that giant mirror that was taking up most of the back wall of the RV, along with the vanity. So the bedroom area was basically just the closet and cabinets over the bed. In the main living area, we removed the cabinets that were above the door and the window, just to give it a lot more space overhead, and just taking out those cabinets made it feel huge, along with removing the divider that was over the cab. That was supposed to be a secondary bunk area, but we wouldn't be having guests, so we removed the divider and pushed the mattress space in, and those two changes made a huge difference in how big the living area felt. Just those two changes. It was crazy. After realizing how big of a difference it made, I also then decided to remove the cabinets that were over the dinette area. We couldn't think of what we would be using those cabinets for, so I decided to just go ahead and rip those out to make the couch area feel larger and spacier. The second stage was painting. We decided to basically paint everything white with the exception of some black accents. Now the thing about the RV walls is that it's not normal wallpaper on those walls. They're more like panels of patterned wall. So that means they need a lot of prep to get them ready for paint. That meant a lot of sanding, a lot of cleaning, more sanding, and even more cleaning before we were actually ready to start painting the walls. And then, of course, since we had removed a ton of cabinets and the dinettes and curtains and all that, we had to go ahead and fill in all of the holes in the wall that we had just made. After everything was prepped and ready to go, we finally were able to start painting. So we got some pretty intense paint and ended up only needing 2 coats over everything. I say only, except it was a ton of work. So here is the start of the walls, of course, taping up all of those little edges, nooks, and crannies. Again, with this small space, there are so many little nooks and crannies that just make painting so much more difficult. Here is a comparison of 1 coat versus 2 coats. So the one on the left is just 1 coat, and you can kind of see, depending on the light, the wallpaper pattern underneath of it. But on the right is 2 coats, and it looks like a beautiful flat white color. We actually ended up deciding to paint the ceiling as well, because once everything was white, the ceiling looked a little off-white. But after we painted the ceiling, it actually made the space even that much brighter in there. Once the walls were done, we moved on to the cabinets, and guess what that meant? Sanding and cleaning all over again, with the added step of using primer on the cabinets. So we primed all of the cabinets before painting over them, and it was just a ton of work again because there are so many freaking cabinet doors in this RV. We were so grateful to have friends and family who were able to help us with all of this work. Another quick little project was to paint all of the handles. So instead of buying all new hardware for the cabinet doors, I just took the existing handles and painted them black and gold to match the colors that we were going for. Just a quick money-saving tip for you. We painted the trim around the living slide black along with the area around our black refrigerator for that nice accent wall that I was looking for. Painting was a process, but it was totally worth it. The third step was replacing the floors with some vinyl peel and stick floor planks. So for that, we cleaned the heck out of the subfloor and then used some floor primer before actually adding the planks. Putting in flooring into an RV is made difficult by, again, all of the little nooks and crannies, but also the fact that straight lines do not exist in an RV. You would look at a wall and think, oh, that should be straight. Walls aren't straight, cupboards aren't straight. Nothing is a straight line like you would expect, so there's lots of cutting. We also did the extra step of renting out one of these nice rollers to get those planks really, really on there. Not only does this flooring look a lot cleaner and neater than carpet, but it's also been a heck of a lot easier to clean. In such a small space, dirt and smells and everything just kind of builds up really quick, and it's a lot easier to keep this clean than carpet. After all of the big projects were over, it was time to focus on the little things, like changing out the curtains. which of course had to be hemmed down because the RV windows aren't normal sized windows. No surprise there. Once we put up our own decorations and added our own stuff, it really started to feel like home, and our space looked totally different. We love the space that we've created for ourselves, and we have been really happy living in it so far. It did take quite a few adjustments to go from living in a house to living in an RV, but we are very happy that we went through with it. We don't actually know how long it took total to renovate it because we were dealing with a lot of other things on our plate, but what I can say is that it took us longer than we were expecting, which of course is always the case with these things, right? And since we had no idea what we were doing, that means that if we can do it, you can do it too. If you guys have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments. And of course, feedback and tips from all of you is very much appreciated in the comment section as well. Stay tuned for an RV tour video along with maybe some Q&A, because if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments and then we will try to answer them in a video. If this was useful or maybe just entertaining, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Check out the other videos that I have on my channel. And if you would like to stay tuned for future videos, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys.